Chess is by far the most popular board game internationally. It is the #1 best-selling board game in the world, and because of its historic influence, is arguably the most culturally diverse board game ever. The game has played a role in wars, political battles, and diplomatic exchanges in its time, playing an especially important role in the 1970s, in the midst of the Cold War.
The 1972 World Chess Championship match was hosted in Reykjavik, Iceland, between Russian-born Boris Spassky and American Bobby Fischer, two extremely talented chess players during the Cold War era. The match was at a time when tensions between the United States and Russia were extremely high, making the atmosphere around the game extremely politically charged. This match served as a major opportunity for the United States to gain a psychological advantage during the Cold War, as although the Soviet Union sometimes fell behind when it came to weapons or support, it maintained almost complete dominance over the chessboard for decades. This was all changed after Bobby Fischer was able to decisively win the match, demoralizing the USSR and strengthening the United States' global hegemony. His win also led to an increase in popularity of the game, especially in the West. As the game's popularity continued to grow after the World Championship, a new generation of chess players took over the game, and as technology became more advanced, society found other ways to innovate around it. These ways being the development of chess-playing computers, adding a new aspect to the historical board game, turning focus away from traditional chess and onto an intelligent system stronger than any human had ever been before.
Chess is seen by many historians as the oldest strategic board game ever invented. Its earliest precursor originated in northeastern India, with records of the game, which was called Chaturanga, dating back to the Gupta period, 319 to 543 CE. In this game, different pieces had different abilities, and victory involved the capture of the king, not unlike modern-day chess. The game spread further to northern India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan through the Silk Road, where new pieces and rules were added, becoming a mixing pot of different cultures. The Silk Road provided countless opportunities for traditional games and ideologies to be shared by cultures, and is one of the main reasons that chess became so popular and well-known. The game continued spreading west, south, and north, each new culture adding to it. By 750 CE, the game reached China, and by the 11th century it reached Japan and Korea. Through Persia, the game made its way into Europe, and Muslims brought the game to North Africa, Sicily, and Spain. It was even carried as far as Iceland by the Vikings. In 900 CE, Abbasid chess masters composed works on the techniques and strategy of the game. By the time the 15th century rolled around, the game had evolved into its modern variant, as the last rules, castling and pawn en passant, were added. In the 19th century, competitive play was created. The first ever World Championship was contested in 1886.
The Cold War began in 1945 after the surrender of Nazi Germany, causing tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union to skyrocket. During the Cold War era, the title of the World Chess Champion passed from Soviet player to Soviet player for decades. The Soviet Union dominated chess at a professional level for years. The game had began to play a central role in Soviet culture. Chess was used for military training, and players were regarded as equals to politicians and government officials. Chess became a way to play out of the real-world conflict between the East and West. Because the strategic board game was directly linked to intelligence at the time, the USSR used the game as a form of propaganda, showcasing the society's superior intelligence. Chess gained popularity in both East and West during the Cold War, all because of the game's heightened importance in global society and showcasing the national superiority. The simple board game had been transformed into an arena of culture and ideological conflict. Chess players became national heroes and celebrities in the USSR. One example of this can be seen when looking at two famous chess players, Anthony Karpov and Viktor Korchnoi. Karpov, the more successful of the two players, is portrayed as 30-year-old chess champion, a member of the Communist Party, and a representative of Soviet ideal. He is portrayed as diplomatic, intelligent, and generally mild man outside the chessboard. Viktor Korchnoi, another chess player, is represented as a 50-year-old renegade who defected from the Soviet Union in 1976. The Soviet propaganda portrays him morally sick and diseased. This showcases the extremity and importance of chess players as representatives in Soviet culture and ideals. After the start of the Cold War in 1947, the world was quickly divided into two global superpowers, Communist Russia and Capitalist USA, and international affairs became almost black and white. The two sides stockpiled with weapons, with threat of use hanging between them, however never engaged directly in combat. Tensions between the two were never settled on the battlefield, and so resurface in unlikely spaces, one of these being the chessboard.
On June 22, 1972, Boris Spassky, former world chess champion and celebrated Soviet chess player, was to play Bobby Fischer, who from a very early age demonstrated his immense skill for the game, winning the US Chess Open in 1957 and the US Chess Championship. The two would play for the prize money of $138,000 and the title of World Chess Champion. This match in 1972 was one of the most captivating moments in chess history. The match occurred in the neutral location of Reykjavik, Iceland, and tensions could not have been higher. Fischer and Spassky would play a 24-game tournament, as was tradition in the World Chess Championship. The final score of the tournament was 8.5 to 12.5, with Bobby Fischer winning. This loss of Boris Spassky caused the Soviet use of the game as propaganda to backfire, and the event served as a major psychological and cultural blow during the time of conflict. Although this chess match was regarded as one of the most spectacular and now is one of the most famous matches of all time, it was what happened after the match that would have a real impact. This match would turn chess upside down, causing a massive increase in the Western popularity of the game, eventually leading to innovation and technology within it. This innovation turned focus away from traditional chess and onto AI systems stronger than any human had ever been before. The match also impacted various aspects of life itself during the 1970s, including the historical role of chess in diplomacy, and bolstering international relations and national identity. The first program capable of playing chess was published on paper by Alan Turing in 1950. However, because interest in this part of the game was extremely low, the development of AI in chess was not very well known or developed. This all changed after the 1972 World Chess Championship, as the popularity of the board game skyrocketed. This led to more focus on innovation within the game, specifically the development of chess-playing computers, and eventually leading to the creation of what was then the best chess-playing computer, Deep Blue. This supercomputer was eventually able to beat Grandmaster and world champion Garry Kasparov. This victory over the world champion was described as the single most historic event in the history of chess by Daniel Edelman, a Grandmaster and editor of the American Chess Journal. Deep Blue was the most advanced chess supercomputer at the time, and was able to evaluate over 200 million possible moves a second. It used a series of complex mathematical equations and logic expressions to find the best move. Kasparov, after the game, stated, "I was playing against myself and something I couldn't recognize."
Although Deep Blue won, the match was extremely close, the final score being 3.5 to 2.5, wins counting as 1 whole point, and draws counting as 1/2 of one. The moves that Deep Blue made were read off a 1.4 computer and repeated on the chessboard by an interpreter. Garry Kasparov was a Soviet-born chess player, became the youngest chess player ever to become a world chess champion in 1985, only 22 years of age, and the first world champion to be defeated by a supercomputer in a competitive match. In 1996, Kasparov defeated the supercomputer Deep Blue in a competitive match, and a rematch was arranged next year. Deep Blue's intelligence was upgraded and was able to defeat Kasparov in a competitive match easily. He retired in chess in 2005, however still produces books on chess and his experiences in the field. The 1972 World Chess Championship caused growth in the overall popularity of the game. This caused innovation within the game that led to the development of AI systems smarter than any chess player had ever been before, turning focus away from human players to supercomputers such as Deep Blue and nowadays Stockfish.